Hey everyone, Gary Suderman here with the two leads and writer-director of A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. I will allow you to introduce yourselves.
I'm Sheila and I play the girl.
I'm Ana Lily Amirpour, and I'm the writer and director.
My name is Arash, Marandi, and I'm playing Arash in the movie.
But not yourself.
I'm not playing myself.
No,
It's hard to say.
I am definitely playing myself.
You are?
Yes. That's
So,
me.
so I'm waiting for the fangs to descend.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna be like,
Yeah,
are you a good boy? Gary.
in Farsi. Yeah. So I was at the premiere last night
Oh, cool.
and absolutely loved it. I believe I sat behind the pimp. Yeah, and he and his entourage were just loving every minute of it.
Nice.
And no, it was just such a fun screening because it's such a marvelous film. There's not
Thank you.
an ounce of unoriginality or things like, oh, we've seen this before. The way you like recombine so many things, like, vampires and like there's even this element of like coming of age story. It's definitely a love story, but it's the most unconventional love story. And gosh, I mean that scene, for instance, when he is Dracula at a costume party and then he meets the real vampire.
Yeah.
Just so many perfect moments, and I feel like you got two of the best leads you could hope for.
They're amazing.
So
it was written for them. It was them. It's like,
you knew them prior to the film.
yeah, like I knew them, and I knew, like, built the characters around knowing them. If you can do that as a writer and filmmaker, like, know who you want, and then you just have them and their essence, that's what you absorb in. It's like, that's like the dream.
Right.
Casting and just like a factory line of people coming, and you're like, and it's brutal for both people. Castings, auditions are brutal.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, so what was the pitch session like, or what did you think when you first heard, hey, would you like to play a
She
vampire?
was like, let me see your teeth.
She was the first.
Not really.
Okay,
Yeah.
she was okay.
I hadn't
You
even
both
written
were-
the script. We were like walking around in New York City together, and I knew I wanted to do a feature around that character. That was going to be the character of this film, and I wanted her to do it. And her hair was really long. I was like, do this film, but you got to cut your hair short. She was like, I'm in.
And I was just super excited because, like, I'm really interested in experimental, boundary-pushing stuff, and I think it's hard to find up-and-coming directors who also want to do that and who aren't just, like, trying to get an agent and trying to sell their first movie. Just somebody who wants to tell the kind of story that I want to be part of. So I'm just so happy to be part of this movie.
He was like, it was interesting though, and it actually kind of turned me on because he lives in Germany. He's German. I met him in Berlin.
No kidding. Wow, this is a truly international film.
She came towards me via Skype, actually,
Yeah.
and said, I got a script here. Dude, I got the script.
You're not-
Not going to be like anything you've
And-
ever read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't say no, you gotta come here. And I was in a theater production. I was like, okay, let me overthink that. And then she said, we gotta start in summer, but then she pushed it back because it would be way too hot in summer.
This
to
was
shoot
last
the-
summer?
Last
Okay.
summer?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
the summer
Yeah.
before.
Oh wow. Okay.
2012, actually. And I thought, like, I gotta overthink that, but I couldn't really realize what it
We were on
would be,
Skype.
you know,
I
what,
was like,
what,
you
it,
know,
what
yeah.
it would be to, and over the months that we were pushing it back and back again.
But I tell you, his hesitation. Not like everyone's different. Every single other actor was like, I'm in, like right away with no hesitation. And his hesitation, honestly, is the true like heart and soul of the character, and like this kind of sensitive like thoughtfulness that I see in that character. And like, all right,
That was the test.
Right.
Probably that
It
was the
wasn't a
casting.
test.
Well, so if anything, he was giving you like his audition. Like, sure, like you are the right fit for this character.
I was literally on Skype being like, okay, look, you're not saying no. You're not doing this. Like,
Yeah.
you have to come to America. I mean, it was he's in Germany, coming all the way to America to this shitty town. Like, he's in the whole movie. I mean, he was like in the more shooting days than anybody in the cast, carrying around a cat. I mean, fucking, you know.
Oh, the opening with the cat. It's like, what are we in for? Yeah.
Masuka.
Masuka Cat, yeah. Who did not make it to Sundance, or is working on another film, I guess?
He's,
Okay.
he's, you
He's
know.
so booked out.
Yeah.
His agent is so difficult. Makes everything so difficult with his you know, his
only
press
eats
team,
Purina
his team. It's
has
like,
to be.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so how much of the characters, like for instance, since I love the '80s and all of its music, I love that there is this retro vibe and that she has Prince on the wall and listens to Lionel Richie, and so how much of that did that come from you, or are the majority of the film's obsessions your own that you're then giving to the characters?
Yeah, it's all my obsession.
All yours, no?
Yeah.
I mean, we share some obsessions, but those are all her
Of course.
obsessions.
Who doesn't love Prince and Madonna?
Oh,
and
exactly.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
The Bee Gees.
All those icons, actually.
But it's very important to me, like, the stuff that builds the universe. It's just important to me. Like, they're always going to have their own secrets and their own stuff that's their own things. And they do it. And I'm like, oh, that's even better than what, like, when she dances and she's putting on the makeup.
Oh, absolutely,
you know? But you have all these conversations and you're all on the same page about, like, what kind of creature we're bringing to life. And then when we were there that night shooting that scene where she's, like, dancing and putting on the makeup, that was, like, we were setting up and she was just, like, dancing. And I was like, oh, yeah, I just came in my pants, like, turned the camera, like, that's what it's going to be. And that's
Sure.
all her, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I love that you use that
But the
expression.
specific references, like, I do care about all that shit. I think I always will. I'm, like, very detail-oriented about what the world is.
Right, and having something very specific that you can hang your head on. Yeah.
Every detail, yeah.
Well, speaking of music, this film, of all the ones I've seen at Sundance, really strikes me as having these, you know, in some cases long takes, in other, like for instance, the intro of The Girl. The music is such an integral part. And later when the pimp has snorted cocaine and is attempting to seduce her. My absolute favorite, though, is...
That's how I want to be seduced.
Right? Yeah. Okay, that was your...
That's why
I feel like your favorite.
That's if you want to win my heart, that's how you have to do it.
Yeah.
Just
And-
FYI.
Exactly, yeah. But that one shot where you're in the far right of the frame, and it's so unbalanced because we're waiting for him to come in, and it just virtuosic. It felt just so perfect, and without a word. You know, there's not an instance of dialogue overused.
4-minute long, uncut, single shot.
Right. Well, shooting on set, were you actually playing that music? Because I know
Yes.
you mentioned that you had written the script with the music in mind.
Yes.
So you're like, hey guys, this is what it's going to feel like.
Yeah, we had a little mini amp,
Wow, okay.
even just to make it loud enough, and we knew that song very well going into it already. A lot of that music we already had, like, in our minds, and I had a whole playlist just of the music she gave me. These are the things that are going to be in the movie.
Nice.
So...
There was other stuff that composed that scene of what happened when they got back there, but like the heart of it, like the soul of it, was in this one thing. And I thought when we had rehearsals and we talked about what was going to happen, there was this like idea of how slowly is it possible to close the gap, the physical gap between two people, and how like all the magic and tension in romance isn't from the actual touching; it's from the anticipation of touching.
And women in general appreciate that more than men.
And if they
If they open themselves up to it.
I remember there's the moment where I finally turned and faced him, and Lily was like, "You can't turn slow enough." Like just as like, you know, it almost feels like imperceptible, and it changes you to move that at that pace too. It builds the anticipation within you.